Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint this green forest pathway. We're going to show you step by step how to do it from start to finish. We're going to try to keep it very simple, so we're probably going to do it kind of a looser impressionistic style tonight, and hopefully be good for beginners. Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's going to chat for our live show tonight, so if you've got questions while I'm painting, you can ask those, and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Alrighty, I'm using a 9x12" canvas today. This is the Pro Series Fredrix canvases, the linen board. It's got a hardcore, so it doesn't warp or anything, but you can use really whatever size you want to for this. Yeah, so I think it would look nice on a larger canvas. I use the smaller ones just because it's easier for camera work. Let me go over our colors really quick. I've got carbon black, burnt umber. The canvas got knocked over there. All right, now this way.
Who turned that on for you?
Yeah, somebody turned that on for me. He was helping me.
He's a really good helper.
He's super helpful. Carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, cadmium, yellow light, phthalo green yellow shade, phthalo blue green shade, ultramarine blue, Quinacridone Magenta, Dioxazine Purple. This is Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, and this is a little bit of Zinc White. That's for kind of the, what is that? Sunlight effect through the trees. Sorry, I already can't think of my words. And this is a glazing medium here. So this is just a gloss glazing liquid that'll just help thin out our paints for when we want to do some transparent glazing. We're probably not going to need it a whole lot for this one, but we'll probably use it for the sun for sure. Our brushes, you're just going to want a variety of different sized brushes for your like background area and the pathway. So I've got 12 and an 8 bright in the Summit series. These are our Princeton brushes. Princeton and Fredrix are our two different Fredrix for canvases, Princeton for brushes. They're awesome. They're canvas and brush sponsors, and we don't get paid by them, but we use their products because we love them, and it's kind of a win-win. So they provide our brushes for our videos and canvases.
I think we should high five right now.
High five. High five over, yeah. Virtual high five.
Sorry.
I've got a 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, and a 1/2 inch angle shaders here in the VelvetTouch line. And then for some of the tree trunks and branches, I've just got a number 2 round and a number 2 script liner. For the script liners are nice. They're kind of long. They look intimidating, but they work really well for branches because you don't have to. It holds a lot of paint, so you can do several branches with one load of paint. And I've got a 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch Willow's blenders. Probably not going to use these a whole lot. Probably just for some of the smaller ones, possibly. I'm not even sure we'll need them because we're going to use the Deerfoot Stippler and a C sponge for most of our trees. So this is a 5/8 inch. I just got the largest size that I had. Don't have to have this exact size. C sponge can work for your larger areas, and then you can have the Deerfoot for some of the smaller areas, but that'll get our trees on there really quickly for us. And then I've also got a fan brush for that sunlight effect. So need that for the streaks for that. And that's it. So, you don't need all these brush sizes and brushes and everything, but just use what you've got that's similar, whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as what I'm using, but I do have links down in the description for all the stuff that I use in my videos in the Amazon store and also blick.com.
Yeah, right. We'll still like them if they don't have all the brushes. they can hang out with us.
They can still hang out with us if they don't have a problem like I do. Brushaholic Anonymous, is that a thing? I don't know. It probably is. Okay. So really the only thing I'm drawing is the path. I kind of started it just to get an idea of sort of how to teach you how to draw it. So I figured this this side of the pathway, this end of the pathway is like right on the third. Whoa, I'm going in and out of focus there. So there is a tree right here that's coming up, this large tree that's kind of in that, that first one that's on this side is right here. And then down from it is where this path ends. So that's kind of a good marker for us. And it's right on the third there. And the angle, I find it helpful to use like a pencil or whatever I'm working on and kind of make my angle up against my reference photo. So kind of look at our reference photo and we can see that side, I don't have it in front of me, but you can kind of see the angle against here. I'll line it up with what I'm talking about there. That angle of the road is right about in there. So then we can kind of mark it out this way and go, okay, this is the angle of that road on that side. And it is going to right about on this third, just below this third. So if you have this third marked, this is kind of the top of the road right here, that it's almost flat right here. And then right below it is where this little pathway is coming out, and it comes out at an angle and then it curves around, and it's going to come out. Here's the halfway of our canvas. So it's not quite to the halfway mark. In fact, we can bring it out a little bit more, I think, like that, somewhere in there. So about maybe an inch away from the halfway mark here. And you don't have to come out too far with it. And then I'm just using by the way, pastel chalk pencil for this. You can use watercolor pencil. Just do not use regular pencil because it will show through after you paint. You don't want that. It doesn't erase off when you paint over it. This will erase right into our paint. Okay, so this angle is a little bit different. It kind of starts out like this and it comes down to about even with this. So it kind of does like a shallower angle, and then sort of the widest part of this where it starts to curve down, that's where this starts to curve down as well. And it's going to come to just to the inside of this quarter mark. So right in here somewhere, or this third mark, I mean. And the angle on this side is a little bit more like this. It's kind of pointing straight to the middle of the canvas right here. And so kind of just mark out that. So it goes flat here, and then it kind of just gradually turns and comes this way like that. So if you have your kind of markers, that's really how I draw. You can grid it if you want to. I'm basically mentally gridding it in my mind, from the reference photo. So I'm just gridding it without going through the work of putting the grid on my canvas and the reference photo. But if that's easier for you, you can do that. Or I will have the traceable for this available, and you can just trace the design onto the canvas and get straight into painting. So you don't have to know how to draw at all. If you don't want to draw. Okay, and then this side here is going to come just above this, maybe not quite an inch. And it's going to mirror this curve here just about. And then it's going to narrow as it comes up here. So there's going to be a little edge of greenery right here. And then this stuff is all just bushes all the way through here. So this whole thing is just kind of full of bushes. And then our trees are going to kind of emerge out of that and be all in here. And I'm not going to really draw all of them because we're going to do a lot of work on this background. I don't want to have to worry about drawing them and then redrawing them. I may draw them again later though. So I'm going to grab out my white pastel pencil just to have it just in case I need it for later. Okay, so let's get to painting.
So are you okay?
Why?
After describing all those math terms?
And
stuff like that.
I really didn't. I did it I didn't have to go too much into math, thankfully.
Okay. Just making sure you're okay. As
long as I remember my thirds, I'm good. Can base everything else off of that.
And my name.
And Mark's name, yes.
Sometimes not always successful with
Check. All right. I'm going to grab my Ultramarine Blue here. I'm spraying my paints with water every now and then to keep them moist because they are wanting to dry out on me. And I'm going to go ahead and spritz out my canvas too. That will just give me a little bit of a wet surface to work with. I don't have a lot of water on here. It's not dripping off of here, but just a little bit of water will help us get going with this.
We got a question.
Okay.
They would like to know if they could get by without zinc oxide.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can. As long as you have glazing medium, that probably is a must. You need some sort of medium because we're going to be thinning out our paint so much. If you're using heavy body acrylic, now if you're using craft acrylic, it won't matter because they're not as pigmented. So heavy body acrylics are more pigment, less binder. And like the cheaper acrylics, as you get cheaper, it's more binder, less pigment. So if you get down to the, craft acrylics, you barely have any, lot of binder. So you can add as much water as you want, just about, and not really worry about it. Okay, so adding, I really should have started with the white and added the blue to it because I ended up with a whole lot of blue here, but that's all right. I'll use that later. Poor Spencer's on puppy duty tonight, so Fitzpickle is our little new baby Cavapoo, and Spencer is babysitting. We had a tick infestation, so joys. Joys of puppyhood. That was fun. So his playpen is in quarantine right now, so we can fumigate it. Okay, TMI. Nobody cares. But if you hear random puppy noises in the background, it's Spencer trying to wrangle the dog. So, all right, I added unbleached titanium over here. So I've got titanium white. I added just a little bit of the burnt umber. So I've got the ultramarine blue with white, and then a little bit of burnt umber right here with it. Just to kind of, all that does is kind of gray it out a little bit, so it's not super bright blue. We don't want it super bright here. And then and then I was waiting for your joke, hon. And then unbleached titanium over here for kind of more of a yellow tone. Okay, so we'll see. Oh, that's perfect.
That's my cue.
I know. I was waiting for you to say something about super bright. Obviously, you didn't.
Super bright.
You didn't need super bright when it came to husbands. But
oh, yeah. I'm not bright enough to come up with that.
Okay, I just was waiting for it. I figured you were going to come up with something funny. You're not on the ball tonight.
No, all I have is tidy whitey for titanium. That's all I got.
Paying attention to chat. That's good. I'll leave you alone.
Actually, I was listening to the playback for puppy noises, so it's not too bad.
Not too bad. Okay, good. I just heard a loud one there a little minute ago. Talking. Okay, so I'm pretty loading the paint up fairly thickly here. That'll give me a little bit more blending time. And over here, I'm just going to wipe my brush off. I don't worry too much about cleaning it all the way. I'm going to grab some yellow, cadmium yellow light, yellow oxide. And I'm okay if it turns a little bit of green. I don't want it to be like super green, but a little bit of green's fine. Getting that yellow. And over here, we got yellow behind our trees. So, and I'm just going to let them kind of mix together right in here. And keep the yellow kind of in this quadrant over here. I get white now. Go in with some white. Want this area to be more white. Right here where that sun's shining from through the trees. And then down here, there's a little bit of like a reddish tone. So I'm going to get a little bit of Quinacridone Magenta and add it to some burnt sienna and put it in there, this yellow that we have. There we go. I'm going to go right up to that path and pull up right along that line there.
We got another paint question.
Okay, and I'm not, I put the darkest color down where I want it to be thicker. And then if I still had a lot of paint on my brush, I would wipe it off and before I blended it up. But this pretty much kind of was gone mostly by the time I put it on. So I'm just going to blend it up into this blue and yellow here a little bit. I'm listening. I'm just trying to get this.
No, that's fine.
Second.
I'm here all night.
Question. Okay.
You ready?
Yes, I think so. Yes, go ahead.
They want to know, where did they go? Difference between yellow oxide and yellow ochre.
They're about the same. They're real similar. Yellow oxide is just a synthetic yellow ochre. So. And I'm switching probably once I'm out of this yellow oxide, I'm going to be switching to the transparent yellow oxide. So if you're about to buy some, I would get the transparent version because I think we can do more with it than with the opaque. You can just add white to make it opaque. So we might as well start with transparent, I feel like, and then we can do all kinds of transparent effects. Whereas right now we can't really use this for glazing because it's too opaque and opaque colors they kind of block the light. They don't make great transparent glazes. All right, so I'm just going to kind of pull off some of this extra paint. Now, don't do this unless your paint is still very wet. If it's starting to dry, you don't want to do this because you'll just end up lifting the paint off your canvas. But I'm seeing some thicker areas here that I'm just trying to smooth it out a little bit. And that looks good. All right, let's let that dry. Let's go ahead and work on our road here. So down here on the road, I'm going to go ahead and use this blue and my burnt umber. And I'm going to make the road kind of a blue-gray. Maybe get a little bit of the phthalo blue too. Why not? And maybe just a little bit of black. You can see I'm just getting it on the corner here. And I'm picking up all my colors. If you're new to painting with acrylics, I find that your paints will last longer on your palette if you don't pull straight from the middle of it. If you kind of pull from the corner, from the side, and then get your fresh paint, continue like pulling from that same area. It leaves the backside here to kind of form a film, and it protects the paint underneath a little bit, and it'll last a little bit longer because anytime you're exposing your paint to air, it's going to start drying. So these paints here that I've flattened out and made a thin layer out of, like all of this is exposed to air now. As opposed to if it was in a tight puddle, there would only be a smaller area. So that will, the smaller puddle of paint is going to hold the moisture in longer than a long flattened out, thinned out area of paint. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're working with your acrylics. Things like that can actually make a pretty big difference. I get, beginners all the time, saying, oh, my paints dry out faster than, yours, your paints on your palette last longer. And that I bet you, I can't sit there and, look over their shoulder, tell them exactly what the problem is, but that would be my guess, is that they're probably mixing from the middle of the paint puddle and exposing all of that to air. So, all right, I'm grabbing some of my blue from our sky, and I'm going to use it in the road here. And so I want this area of the road right in here to be very light, and that's way too dark still. So I'm going to wipe all that color off my brush and just pick up some of this blue and a little bit of this gray that I just mixed in here. That was just ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, burnt umber, little bit of black. I don't want the black to overpower it. I'm getting some of this blue-gray here. That's probably still a little bit too light. too dark, but we'll let it dry and we'll put some light on top. This isn't going to be our final layer, so that's fine. Okay, so right in here. And then I do want it dark down here though, so I'm going to get the dark and just kind of go across with it. There's going to be little splotches of shadows, but we're not going to get super fussy with it. Our colors and things, or our, details tonight. We're just going to try to keep it sort of loose. So using a bigger brush will help you paint looser. So it forces you to kind of block in areas a little bit differently. You can't get in there and do the big, or the tiny little details, and you kind of have to simplify things. So
which
try to paint with larger brush tonight.
Yeah, which brush are you using right now?
This is the number 12, right? Okay. And then I've got an area in the middle here that's a little bit darker. So I'm going to go ahead and get the purple and add that to my burnt umber and a little bit of the blue. So I want the similar color. I probably could have mixed it in with this too if I wanted to. And I'm going to just kind of right in here. There's kind of that middle part of the road that's a little bit darker. So I'm just going to go into this wet paint. It's mixing with this. And I'm just going to add that little bit darker color. And I'm barely touching down here just to get a little bit of this color on here. And I want all this kind of, see how the brush strokes are sort of being kind of choppy. That's what's going to give it that kind of painterly look that we're going for tonight.
Nice. We've got another question.
Okay. I have a lot of questions tonight.
Yeah.
That's good.
The person wanted to know, is there a reason that we started with the lighter colors instead of the dark colors?
Yeah, because there's a lot of light here, and it's a lot easier to, when you've got things like this light effect and everything, and the trees on top of the light, you have to have that light back there. If you put the light in over the top of the trees, it wouldn't work because you'd be trying to cover up a dark. Covering up the dark is harder than covering up the light colors. So with this, we're going to be putting on the sun, or the sunny areas and the sky areas, and then we're going to put those greenery around it. And we've got lots of areas where that greenery is just like modeled through over the top of this blue sky. And if we tried to paint the blue sky around it, it wouldn't look the same. Like, you have to have those kind of leaves above it, in front of it, on top of it, for it to push that blue in the background. Otherwise, you could. It's a stylistic choice, but this is going to be way easier to do it this way than to try to paint your white in between your tree branches and stuff. It's not gonna go as fast. So, all right. Let's get this medium-sized brush now. This is the 8 Bright. And I'm going to get my green now. I'm trying to see what color I want these dark areas. I think I'm going to go ahead and use the purple. I like using purple with green. It just makes it really beautiful, deep, rich, dark color. And I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this black and brown mixture here and add it over here. So we've got kind of a cooler green here, and then this one will be like a little bit of a warmer with the brown in it. And I'm just going to add this. Going to go right in here. I'm going to go ahead and do the dark color that goes up in here. And of course, this is going to be way darker when it ends up. But I'm going to bring this up just a little bit into that sunny area. This is dry enough now that it's not lifting on me. And I want that really dark color right in here. I'm probably going to need 2 coats of this because it's not going on as dark as I want it to be. Let's get some blue, phthalo blue with the green, and maybe some burnt sienna here. We'll do kind of a teal color too. There we go. All in here. That's a nice dark color. So just kind of doing various colors. Right now, it really does not matter that much. The color is not as important as the values. Really, you could do these bushes and trees with blues. We did one at Christmas time that was, you know, blue, snowy. Everything was blue and white. So the color is not as important as the values. Of course, this is our main theme is green here. So of course we want green, but the idea isn't that the color is king. It's more that you're having the light and darks, the play against the light and darks is really where it's at here. So I'm going to get some of this blue from before. I did not get any new fresh paint, any of the fresh green. I'm using what is already here on my palette mixed in. So it might help you to get a paint notebook and start writing down if you're going to be painting along with me. I'll show you here what I would do, especially if you're going to be drawing it. You can do a paint notebook and have your paints and make little notes for what colors we use. Say PGB, Phthalo green blue shade, plus QBO, Quinacridone burnt orange, whatever, you know, in acronyms or whatever abbreviations you want to use. Not an acronym, so I don't know what that word. Anyhow, you get the idea. So you just go ahead and like put it, doesn't have to be with your drawing. You could put it on a separate sheet or whatever, but it really will help you keep track of your colors. You don't even have to mix them ahead of time. You can if you want, but at least while I'm painting, you can write them down and just say, you know, first step, paint this with these two colors, second step, you know, and so while you're watching it for the first time around, it's helpful to do that. And then once you go to paint it, it'll go a lot faster for you because you'll already have these colors noted. And sometimes I mix back into colors that I've already mixed, so I don't always go back over exactly what that color was. Like, so I'm mixing back into my yellow. I'll just say, you know, I'm going to mix into this yellow, but the yellow was, you know, this color, I don't remember. It's been a while, you know, since I've done it. So I don't really always remember exactly what this was. So if you remember it from before and you have it noted, it just makes it that much easier for you. And you won't get frustrated with me for not telling you exactly what I'm mixing every step of the way.
The word
you can see it on the palette, but
abbreviation.
Thank you, abbreviation.
And the tip you gave in the Sunday video was make sure you remember what your abbreviations are.
Yes, write them down, make a key, because I've done that. I've done weird abbreviations and not remembered what they meant. So, okay, so doing that yellow, you can see how light this should be very similar to what's back here. So the idea is this area here should all be very close in value. It's going to all be within 1 or 2 values so that it blends and disappears into the back. It's going to be very like light and foggy. Then these dark, rich colors are going to be on top. It's going to push all of this back and bring all of this darker colors to the foreground and really make it look like we're going down into a tunnel here. That's the idea, at least. So make sure you're doing this nice and dark. If this is really obvious right here, then this color needs to be a little bit lighter for you. Okay, and then it'll get gradually darker as we come through here. So I'm going to grab some of my darker color and just add that in here. I'm just mainly trying to get some color down. It doesn't have to be the exact color. We're just trying to get some of an idea of where things are going to go at this point and try to get our darker values in.
Want to say hi to everybody.
Yes. Hey guys.
Welcome.
Yes. Welcome. Hope you're having a good evening.
I am, because there are no audio problems.
And we ate already, so Mark's happy.
Yes.
Early before the show. We're learning. We're learning. So So now I can go as late as I want, right?
You sure can.
Whether you'll be here to watch or help me is another story.
Well, exactly.
You're welcome to go as late as you want, honey.
Yeah, you can go like a 24-hour marathon if you
The
want.
time is 9, so that's when I will be leaving the show. But
Just bring Fitzpickles in here and you guys talk yourself out.
that's going to be great. Great. I like it. Okay, using white here. So I added some yellow to my green here, and I again noted I have not cleaned out my brush. So I'm just using kind of all these greens that we've already used, and we're just going to, that's probably too light. I don't need that over there. Get some of my darker color here. Okay. So this is going to be more yellow because it's got the sunlight hitting it right here. So all this is going to be nice and yellow right here. We're also going to have a patch of yellow like kind of right in here. And then the rest of this is going to be kind of a blue, gray, green in our shadow over here. Our cooler colors in our shadows, the warmer yellow greens in our sunlight areas. Okay, let's get this darker color here. These are all starting to dry out on me. Oh, yeah, okay. I left that for a reason. Let's get this burnt sienna here. So this area is brown. It's that burnt sienna. So right along there, all the way down to that curve. Oops, that's too thick. We'll fix it later. I think it's thicker right here, but that area is thin right in there. And then I'm going to get some here and do the same thing here and kind of just tap it in. That's probably too dark right there. So I'll have to make that lighter, and I'm just tapping this. It doesn't have to be clean because this is kind of going over the path. It's not a clean path there. I'm going to get the light and I'm going to go over this area. Mix it a little bit with that. So that, there we go. So that it fades out a little bit right there as it comes around. See how we lighten that up. And then let's do the same thing here. Let's just right here. This area is going to be, I'm getting to where this brush is a little bit too big. And let's fix that little area right there. Just while we're thinking about it, and get some of that yellow and pull that in front right there. Okay. Getting some of the browns, really both of these browns, and some of the green, blue here. And I'm just going to do kind of a dirty brown green right in through here. And then I need to clean this because I've got so much of that lighter color in there from before. I want a dark color. I'm going to have to some of that. There we go. Green, purple, brown, black. That was the color that we were using before. Just mixed up a little bit more of it. Use it up here. So this area here is be pretty dark. Okay. I'm just using up what's in my brush here. Darkening up this, giving this a second coat over here. Make it nice and dark right in here. Okay.
I mean, right now, this is a good start, to like an open field kind of painting too. I mean,
that's true.
You can take this in different directions.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, so got that. Our sky looks pretty good. I'm not really worried about it being perfect because we're going to cover 90% of it. Maybe not 90, but something in there. I'm going to get my big old sea sponge. I pulled out my reserve sea sponges because my poor sea sponges are all abused. They're all covered with paint. I told Mark I think it's time to get some new ones. It's just
so we need to go see Sally
by the seashore.
Yeah, because Sally sells sea sponges by the seashore.
Seashore, okay. Sorry, guys. I walked right into that. Okay, so making a teal green. It's actually just about the same color as my nails there. See that? Phthalo blue, phthalo green, and my white here. And I got a little bit, I think I had a little bit of the burnt umber in there too from before. So equal parts, making a teal basically, adding that burnt sienna to tone it just a little bit so that it's not like a super bright turquoise. And then adding lots of white there. And I need a little bit more of my green probably, but I'm going to go ahead and go with this because it's not overly mixed. Like you can see, there's still some little bits of white in there, and that'll actually be nice to have. So we're going to use that right in here. I think this is going to be just about the right color. We'll see. And I'm going to put it right up the middle, really. And then up toward the top, I'm going to get some more of the white. So that up in here is just going to be kind of blended in. It'll be hard to see if it's sky, if it's tree. Kind of in the same general area. Leave a little pockets of this blue showing there, but you see how close to that color it is. It's not really contrasted, and that's what we want. Okay, leave a little pocket of that darker or that golden orangey color there. Golden orangey. Get some blue. Our blue, ultramarine blue here. I'm going to run that through. Use that for over in here. Kind of turn it a little bit more blue as it goes into these trees here. And this comes down almost to right here. So it starts to come a little bit lower right here. And then we can put a little bit of this blue, sort of tap it in here and there so that there's a little bit of both colors there. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. I'm just looking to see if I see any other colors in this far distant area. And this is going to dry quite a lot darker than it looks right now, and that's okay. Actually, I'm going to get some of this gray if I can. There we go. So you can see how close, though, our values are here. There's our lightest color. It's really only like 3 away from this darker color. So we're not doing a huge amount of contrast back here. Right there. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So just kind of trying to get a little bit of darker happening in there. Looks good. And I think I'm going to, this is going to be a good color for our, I'm going to try to drip some of that off of there if I can. It's going to be a good color for our highlights over in here. So I don't think this is going to stay wet, but I'm going to go ahead and dip it into the water just a little bit. And I'm going to keep an eye on that because I do not want that to dry out and ruin that sponge that I just got out. And while this is wet, I can put it in a paper baggie or a plastic baggie. That'll help keep it moist while I'm working. So if I know I'm going to want to use that color later and I don't want to, because you waste a lot of paint, that still has a ton of paint in it. And there's really no way to get it out unless you put it on the canvas, you know. So
you are pretty strong.
What?
I mean, you pick up that sponge like it was nothing, and it's got a ton of paint in it.
I don't know. It reminds me of that grandma that we were watching paint or make. I was saying she's got to be stronger than me because we were watching this little Italian lady making spaghetti sauce out of fresh tomatoes, and oh my gosh, it looks so good. And her accent was killing me. It was so cute. And but she was carrying these huge pots just like they were nothing. I'm like, gee whiz, grandma. She had it going on, that's for sure.
She's been working all her life.
I know. She puts me to shame, that's for sure. I need to be doing my weightlifting. Okay. So there's some little branches in here that we'll want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this gray blue as our starter color and use some burnt sienna with it. Kind of make a warm brown, but it's got all these blue influences in here, so it's going to tone in. I might even grab a little bit of the purple ink. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Spray that well. And let's see. That looks good. All right. That's a little bit light or a little bit dark, so I'm going to get a little bit of the lighter color here. And that was kind of thick too. I don't know why I did it so thick. Get that off there. Just using a little bit of water on my paper towel here. Okay. So pressing my brush flat, I switched to the 1/4 inch angle because then I can get some thinner lines with it. If I press my brush flat, I get a good chiseled edge here, and then I can just line it up with the angle pointing down at me and pull some lines straight up here and keep them fairly thin. Oh yeah, that's good. So it should be basically the same. Like you can see how it's very light. You can't really tell what is happening here. Like you can tell that they're tree trunks if you really look, but they're not super obvious. So I'm just kind of overlapping and layering them and putting them in different directions so they're all kind of doing like this. If you line them all up perfect, they're going to look kind of false. So I find that the faster I do these kind of things, the better it looks. So especially when I'm trying for like an impressionist style, if I just don't overthink it and kind of put it on there, it usually looks better than if I really like carefully lined out every little brush stroke. All right, so I'm going to bring some of these up because some of these trees are a little bit taller up in here. They're going to go over this way. Again, make sure they're staying very light and okay, with your tree branches, you want to keep them thin. So I'm using, if you need to, you can switch over to your script liner so you get some thinner lines.
And just like that, trees.
Yep. Well, your eye kind of fills in the gaps for you. You don't have to do a whole lot of work, you don't realize how much your eyes or your brain is already interpreting everything around you all the time. It's always kind of scanning and interpreting shapes, and like you see a stick with a bushy thing on the top, and your brain just automatically is like tree.
Ice cream.
No.
Oh,
Are you hungry? Do you need some ice cream? I bought some today.
okay, well,
Back to painting.
that's not what your mind sees. Okay.
Right. Getting some of the yellow, and I'm adding it to the green that was already here and doing it before this dries. So keep this wet, and just if I keep like adding water to these, I can use them for longer before they dry out fully. And I'm going to go back in now with this green and go over some of these. You can see adding some lighter, it'll push those trees back a little bit, and I'm using the Deerfoot Stippler so I can get a little bit more control on it. And let's get a little bit darker green, like just a little bit darker. I just grabbed some of that was over here that had a little bit probably of the yellow oxide in it. And I'm going to do, here we go. So some of these in here are getting hit by the sunlight just a little bit. But again, these are all very subtle changes, not a lot of value changes in here. And what time is it? Okay, we need to speed it up here. Get going. Told Mark I thought I could get it done quickly. He saw this and he was like, nope. I'm like, no, I can do it. I can simplify it. He's like, okay. So I need to prove him wrong because he doesn't have faith in my.
I'm not sure that you've met Angela before. Angela the artist. She's a little meticulous.
Okay, well, I'm trying to be a little bit more like faster.
Okay, well then just paint with your left hand.
No, then we'd really be here all night. Can't do that. Nobody wants to see that. Okay, I'm gonna get some of this. Let's get some of this blue-green here. And I'm gonna switch to my smaller brush here. This is just the green. I think this was the blue plus the green. I have no idea what this color was, but it's somewhere in all of this. Just a little bit of yellow to it, close to this color here, and I'm going to cover up the bottoms of these tree trunks here. So just, they need to disappear, and we can make some bushes and whatever we need to do to kind of obscure the bottoms of those tree trunks. Let's go ahead and get some of this tree trunk color, add it to the green, and we'll just kind of do, how that just softens everything up there and kind of hides that line so we don't have this weird line there. Let's get some of the darker blues from our up here and do some shadows in there, because it's not going to be all just light colors. There's going to be other things happening. Okay, what happened there? I don't think I lifted off my color. Weird. Alrighty, so let's get some of this lighter yellow, green, and right in here there's like a bright pop of green, yellow, right here where that sun comes down. Just tap it in. Okay, and then some over here. I'm going to get that bright green, bright yellow, add a little touch of green. I want it really like a lime green right in here. That sunlight's hitting it. Get a little bit of white. There we go. Okay. It's right in there. And there's also some right in here too. Just get a bit of sunlight. We're going to ahead of ourselves there. We'll come back to that. I'm going to get some of the green and add some yellow oxide to it. Yellow oxide's already kind of neutral, so this will make a nice mid-tone green here. Add some of our white yellow highlight color and use that back here and just kind of do another layer of this. Now, if you can't see it, then you just need to add either darker or lighter colors so that you can see it. So just picking out some other colors. I'm going to tap in here along there. And let's tap in some along here. Okay. And get some of this color here, and I'm going to put it on this side of this roadway so that it kind of unifies what's happening back here with what is happening on this side of the road, because they're all kind of converging at the same area. Right in there. There we go. Okay, and then right in here, we've got a really bright area right in here. So I'm just going to put some white right there. That's where the sunlight's hitting. And we'll do more to it later, but it'll be ready for us when we need it. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab this. I don't know. This thing. No, we need a new one. We're going to have to get a different sponge. See if I can find one that's going to work for me here. All right, so let's get some of the purple and some of my green, blue, green. There we go. To my dark colors, and then grab some of this blue and or brown and black. Got all the dark greens here. Oh yeah, look at how dark that is. So that's what's going to push this into the distance. And I want more of the ultramarine blue, I think. Some ultramarine blue. Okay, leave little pockets of the yellow showing, so don't get too much too soon. But let me get some of this. It should be almost solid in here. Okay, and then I need to put the tree trunk in here, but just putting some color down first. So the darkest is right in here. And up to the top, and then over here. Again, leaving blue in there, leaving little bits of blue here and there. Got some ultramarine blue coming through there. I'm turning it now to a clean spot on my sponge so I can kind of dab off color that if it got too much in there, which I did, kind of right in there. Okay. Look at that. Not fun. Okay, let's put some of it right here. So it's going to come, we'll probably need to switch to a smaller brush because it's kind of hard to control this big old sponge here. Right there and right in here. And start to see, so we want to make sure that we don't have like a straight line here. So I'm going to go kind of back and forth over that line to soften that up, so bring some of that greenery in. over the line. You can always push it back with more of the lighter color, but if you don't have the contrast there, you don't have depth. So don't be afraid of using these really dark colors. That's what's going to really give you some drama. Gives it this really cool effect. Drama. This is the only time I like drama in my life. Just saying. I'm definitely not a drama mama. I don't like this Housewives shows either. Can't stand it. I don't want to watch people fighting. It stresses me out. I know I'm not in the majority there. They're so popular. I don't understand it, but oh well. Okay, let's move on here. Getting my yellow and my green, and I'm all out of green, so I gotta get some more out here. Find some. There we go. I always want to keep it fresh because I don't want to be in the middle of it and have to put out my paints while I'm working fast here. All right, so I probably would have benefited from a little bit smaller Deerfoot Stippler. I have some, so I probably can I might grab one, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so now I'm going to go in, and this area here has got a lot of the kind of mid-tone greens. So I've got a transition between these like really dark greens here into the lighter color. So I really probably should have put this color on first, but I did want to get this darker on. I can always go back over this with some of my lighter colors. It's kind of a catch-22. They're all kind of overlapping one another. So, you know, it's like which one to paint first is not always clear. But okay, so putting in, you can see this is going to transition between these light colors and this darker, and these are probably not quite dark enough yet. I'm going to get some of the phthalo green. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of the burnt sienna to this phthalo green. That'll tone it just a little bit so that it's not what Ginger Cook calls circus color. Love ginger. Ooh, getting some brown in there. I don't mind that. Okay. I did put out my palette knife because I thought I might mix up a bunch of greens because it's actually easier to mix it with the palette knife rather than on the sponge or the brush. So, because you're not, you don't have as much control with these. They kind of pick up weird paint, you know, in weird places. So if you want to, you can kind of go in ahead of time and make, you know, 4 or 5 of these greens and have them set aside so you can move quickly between colors. And really, I'll say now I have the light and the darker color on there. That looks good. So you can see actually on my brush, I've got the darker color on this side and the lighter color over here. So this is going to give me kind of a double duty here it's called double loading your brush. I kind of did it by accident, but it's a good idea because it makes it faster when you're doing greenery. So I want to keep this greenery, remember, like right on the third. So I want to keep that in mind where that tree is going to be. And I'm doing all this greenery that's kind of behind it, and then we're going to do another layer of greenery on top. So I want to keep that in mind and keep in mind where the trees, like I'm looking at the ones that are behind my tree trunks here. So I'm trying to get those trees in here now, all this greenery that is behind my tree trunks here. And then we'll be adding the colors in front. All right, so just kind of gradually moving forward here. And this area is going to be very yellow eventually. But I do have some of this bright kind of yellow-green up in some of these areas. it going with you, hon?
It's going good.
Good.
I just wanted to, you said the pellet knife earlier, and I remembered you use it in the bonus video on Sunday,
Yes.
your Patreon one.
Yeah, we didn't finish the bonus video.
And I'm proud of you for that.
Yeah. It's just a...
It will be finished. We just didn't do it all on Sunday.
Right. It'll be finished.
After like 5 hours, Angela was tapped out.
Well, it wasn't that I couldn't have kept going. It was that we had at least 2 more hours and I did not want to paint till 9 o'clock at night. So that was my thing.
Right.
And it's just better to come back to it when I'm fresh.
But it's coming along great.
Yep, it is. Here, I'll throw it real quick. This is the $5 level on Patreon. So we're almost done with it. We got to finish this got a bunch of hanging baskets and greenery in this foreground here. And I'm going to work on that some more. It's not quite there, but yeah. So it's getting there. Alrighty. So that's as good. I'm going to get some of this darker color now, if I can get some. And I'm going to mix it with what's in my brush, so it's going to tone that. It's always helpful when you mix the two, like if you mix a new color and then blend it in with something that you've already got on your palette or, got on the painting. That always helps unify your painting. So I introduced all these yellows. So I'm going to go back in now and mix it with these darker colors that we've got here. And it's going to create a whole new color that will really unify the different, tones of green that I've got going on here. Unify this bright yellow green and this bluer green that we had in our darker areas.
Somebody has asked, what is a brush that's kind of like a Deerfoot Stippler? If they don't have one.
You could probably use a stiff bristled, like a stiff bristled round hog bristle brush. Something like that. Just don't add water to these because they will get soggy. Same with these. You really don't want to add water to them. They'll get kind of soggy and hard to manipulate if they're too wet. Okay, so going in with some darker green. Oh, this is looking good. I like it. I like it. So I want some of these areas to be really dark. So you can see I'm just kind of slowly building up these layers so I don't lose all of my light colors all at once. But now I'm kind of deliberately going in and closing off some of these areas where I don't want my sky to show through, like right in here. I want these to be all green. And then let's go ahead and grab some white. I'm going to mix it with this color that we did down here, right? And I'm going to use it to do my highlights in this area. Now I think I'm just going to try to find these brushes. Yeah, there you go. If I turn it on its side so that the point is flat, it's going to create kind of a line, and that's what I want here. So got the point straight at the canvas, point down. Here I'm just kind of pulling out these, stippling out these lines of greenery that are happening right there. Let's do them on this side. Gotta get this light enough that you can see it really bright against the dark areas. And don't worry about it being too bright. You can always go back in and glaze back over it. So if it's too bright, that's fine. You can either add more dark over the top, or we can glaze a little bit of the dark on top at the end to tone it down if we need to.
So I think I'm just going to try to grow my hair longer than yours.
Works.
It'll be the first time in our marriage.
You are working hard at it. It's getting close. It's getting close.
Oh, it's a party in the back.
Every now and then I gently you want me to cut your hair?
So yeah, so the progression of Angela. Oh, your hair's getting long. Well, I don't know where the clippers are. Oh, but I kind of like it long. Well, I guess I could get the scissors and cut it.
That is pretty much to a T what has been the inner dialogue and the
over
dialogue with Mark.
Last 3 or 4 weeks. So
Yep.
I've been married for well over 30 years, and so I know that means go get your hair cut. So I'll be
Before I
making
have to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been February 24th was the last time I had my hair cut.
Party.
So right now the bangs are down into my eyes right now, which was what I had back in high school, but my hairline wasn't so far up back in high school either. So I think I can safely say it's the longest I've ever had my hair.
Yeah. Mine's approaching that. Not the longest, but it's getting there. It's pretty long. I don't mind it. It's not bothering me yet. So as long as I've got clippies to tie my bangs back out of my eyes, I'm good. Okay, so putting some burnt sienna here. Added a little bit of yellow oxide to it. I don't really need much though. And really on this side, I'm going to add some blue. Do the blue with the road a little bit. Just kind of softly tapping. I've switched to the 3/8 inch Willow's blender so that I've got a little bit more control where this is going. This is definitely dark. Obviously, you can see I'm going to go darker on this side in here. It's coming up. I don't want it to be a line, so I need to break up that solid line there. Okay. And then I'm just going to wipe that brush clean. I'm going to get a little bit more of this brown. Let's get some of the blue, ultramarine blue, and maybe a little bit of my white. Yeah, I'm going to do my darker areas right in the middle of my road here. And this side of it is darker, just in general. Yeah, don't worry about it if it looks kind of messy at first, it's fine. We'll fix it. I get some of the blue. That was kind of the original road color, if I can remember. I don't know what color I used, but I get some ultramarine blue here. Maybe a little bit of purple. Mix it with this brown. A little bit of white. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So I'm just going to blending this together here. Kind of going over this edge right here because this is actually kind of blended out so much that you almost don't see that there's a different color there. So, and then this side the same. There's like a little bit darker right on that road right here where the dirt and the road meet. And then there's some shadows that come across. So just kind of muddying up that whole area there. So I'm going to get some darker color. Burnt umber here. Do some dark right in here. Again, don't be afraid to go real dark here, because this will give us some good drama when we add our light colors in. Okay. Want this area, especially right in here, to be really dark. It's probably about halfway up the road. Right in the middle. Really dark. And all the way down here. Dark, dark, dark. Clean that out. Wipe it clean. Wipe out my brush here, my Deerfoot Stippler. Let it dry out so I can use it later if I need to. And let me get a little bit of more water in here. I don't think I'm going to need to use this. Actually, I kind of already used the color there, but keeping it wet is smart so that I can get that paint out of it later. I don't know if I think I did use that one. Yeah, I did for my darker colors. I'm going to let that set right there to stay wet. I'm going to dip my other brushes in the water so they stay wet before I get the chance to clean them. All right, so we're almost done. Honestly, we're very close here. I said 7.5. I think we're going to be close to that. We'll see. I still have a little bit left to do, but I think we're going to be fairly close. All right, so I'm going to put out a little area of my light area here, my light yellow again. There. Let's go ahead before I get anything else done. I'm going to go ahead and do my tree trunks. This will give us something to work against for our upper layers. Here, burnt umber and purple and ultramarine blue. Makes a really beautiful black. It's got a little bit of color. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit of actual black, but I want these to have just a little bit more of a cooler tone. And add a little bit of fluid to it, just water or glaze here. This one is going to go right off using this larger angle brush here, the 1/4 inch, because it's going to give me bigger tree trunks. We'll make them go on here faster. If they're not going on solid enough, you can add a little bit of white. A little bit of black. Don't want a lot of white though, because it'll tighten it up too much. So, all right, then right in here, there's a tree there. There's one right here. Let's go ahead and put this guy in. He is right on the third on this side. So there's one right here that's on the third that angles up this way. Let's go ahead and get that in with. That's going to be some of that purple, a little bit more of the brown, and just a little touch of the unbleached titanium. He's closer to the sun. He's getting some sunlight. So he's not as dark as, oops, that's zinc white, not glaze. Not as dark as the other trees that are in the shadow area. So he lives right in here, and he is right in here. Using the smaller brush so I can get a little bit smaller lines on him. He's going to get narrow as he goes to the top here. So as I come to the top, I'm lifting up the pressure on my brush So I'm getting a finer line. Make sure you have enough paint in your brush so that, and that it's thin enough. If it's not moving for you, if it's just kind of sticking and you're not getting a good flowing line out of it, then you need to add more water to your paint. Going for brush 3 here, I'm going to add water to that color and more glazing medium. The glazing medium is just going to make it stick to the canvas because we're adding so much water to it. And whoop, get in there. Add some very thin strokes. Just always want to make sure that I don't have any thick areas above my thin lines, if that makes sense. Like they always need to get thicker as they go down the tree towards the trunk. So you never want to go thin and then thick and then thin again in your branches. That'll look funky. So like right here, this area is thicker than this that it's attached to. So I need to thicken up the branch that it's attached to so that it makes sense that it's attached to it. And I need to thicken it up all the way down because it's thinner up there. And then I need to make sure I don't do that again so I don't give myself more work. Okay. Really, this is kind of thicker all the way up here. Oop. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to use the same color, but add a lot more white to it. There's a tree right in here. We've already got a tree that's kind of similar to this color, but I just wanted to get a little bit bigger one right in here. And again, we got a weird thick area right here and then a thin area underneath. So I got to go from that thick area all the way down and make sure that that is thicker at the base than it is at the top.
I have one of those weird thick areas.
Yeah, in the middle.
Yep. It's kind of thin at top and then gets wider in the middle and thins out again.
Well, good thing you're not a tree because it just would be a problem.
It's a problem because for some reason my pants don't fit anymore. I think you've been washing them on the wrong temperature.
Is that it? Am I shrinking your pants?
Mm-hmm.
So the holes are coming in at night, replacing them. Okay, I'm wiping my brush clean, getting some of this light color that I just used over here. Maybe burnt sienna, or I'm sorry, unbleached titanium. And I want my brush fairly dry, so I'm kind of taking all the moisture out of it here and pressing my brush nice and flat so I get a good flat edge. And I don't know if that's paint. Yeah, there we go. That paint is dry enough. And I'm just going to add a little bit of highlight. This paint is still too thick right there, too wet for it to do, but got a little bit of a highlight on that trunk at the base. So obviously we're going to have to put some greenery below it here. I'm going to get some of the yellow green and just dab, dab, dab. So dabbing over so that it kind of is obscured there at the bottom. Let's continue with our bigger trees now. Getting that black, black, brown, blue, all of my dark colors. So ultramarine, purple, burnt umber, and a little bit of black, but more of the colors than the black. Okay. And let's go ahead and do a tree right here that comes across right here. here goes this way. Big.
So it has been noticed that on Android devices,
Right.
when you look at the supply list,
Okay.
you get to burnt sienna, and then it looks like there's nothing else.
Really
You scroll down, and there's a large gap in the list.
weird.
And then the next thing you see is 0.0, then cadmium yellow light.
Okay, that's weird.
On my Apple device, it looks perfectly fine. And so that .0 is actually supposed to be the quinacridone burnt orange.
No. No, because that's not on my list.
So on the Apple device, it goes carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna,
Right.
quinacridone burnt orange, cad orange, Indian yellow hue.
Okay, you need to refresh because that's before I changed the list.
Oh, okay. So then you must have done something.
I did.
Because then on the right now it has just a .0.
Okay. Well, I mean, I did it just before the show, so maybe it messed it up. I don't know.
I'm going to refresh my. Okay.
Blue here.
Oh, now I have the same problem on my Apple too.
Seriously.
No, why'd you do that to my Apple device?
I don't know. I messed it up.
Great. Okay, so we'll try to look into it later.
Okay, I'll look into that after the show and make sure that it's obviously something happened when I saved it before the show. Saved my edits. I actually went through and changed maybe I didn't save it. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe I forgot to save it. I don't know. Okay, so I made kind of a blue-gray there for this one. Just a little bit more blue. I went from like the brown, blue, black. See how that I'm progressively getting darker. Here as I'm going back. And that's pretty much all I need to do, I think, over here. There's some other trees, but they're back in here. So I'm just going to kind of put in some random ghost trees that are back in here. They're going to get covered up by green when we get the green going here. Okay. And then this one, let's go ahead and do a little bit more brown on this one. Come on. That is really weird. Okay. This one's kind of all gnarly and got these branches going. Different directions here.
So as you're doing the trees, we mentioned it briefly earlier, but we didn't really talk about traceables.
Yeah. They're available on Patreon. And I'll be making the traceable from the finished painting. So I always kind of do it after the show. And it's usually available like that same night or the next day. Okay, so there we go. There's our trees. And I'm going to do just a few small, shorter branches with this kind of blue or brownish, lighter brown. Here, okay, that was too wet. Just dab my paper towel with the pink. There we go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this brush here. Spray all this because I need it to be wet for me. And I'm going to scrape off anything that I know I don't. It's already dry that I can't use. So all this needs to come off. I think any of this is usable. It's going to be fun getting that clean. Okay, here we go. It's making kind of a lime green there with the yellow and the green, and then getting some of the, let's get some of the blue, ultramarine blue and burnt and phthalo blue, and mix some burnt sienna and yellow oxide with that. I'm gonna make kind of a neutral teal green, and I'm gonna use that. Yeah, good. Right in front. So going on top of all these tree trunks now. And I want my brush fairly thick with paint, so don't be stingy with it. If you have enough paint, you don't have to press down real hard and you'll get these finer leaf shapes out of your brush. Do make sure you do the bottoms of the trees. So, and then I'm going to get some bright yellow, and every now and then there's a pop of this bright yellow green. And if you're getting weird shapes, like I'm getting the same shape over and over again, so I need to turn my brush so it doesn't make that weird diamond shape everywhere, because patterns will ruin the realism of your painting. I love it. It's looking good. Okay, this is fun. Starting to get the fun part. Okay, so let's bring some of this around over this road side. This side is not as yellow though. I don't really need to not be using this yellow on this side. This side's got the yellow. This side's more blue. So I need to add white to my green to do this side so that it looks like it's more shadowy green. Okay, let's go ahead and do over the top. Medium green here. I'm gonna get some more blue. A little bit of actually some of this color. Yeah, okay, good. We had some left. So this was that original color that we used back here. So I'm just gonna use some of that nice dark green back there. And see, this is the color that'll be good for our shadows on this side of the road. We already used it here. So I'm going to use it here along here to create, because it's got white and blue. And then get some really brighter white, and every now and then there's like really bright whitish leaves. Okay. There's some of the whitish leaves over here too in the shadow areas where the sunlight's not hitting them. And some burnt sienna. Burnt sienna and yellow oxide are both really good colors, or brown. Any of these three with your green will help neutralize it a little bit, make it look a little bit more natural. So I don't ever really go in with that straight green. It just, it's too bright. So just kind of always, doesn't really matter what color you do. It's just as long as it's not like bright. Ultra green straight out of the tube. I'm using some burnt blue here. This area is really dark all through here. So this tree trunk is almost all covered with greenery in front of it. Same thing with this one. So we put it in there, but then we cover 90% of it up, and all of the bottom for sure. So all of the bottom area here is getting covered, and get some of this teal blue green down here and add it to my green and blue up here. And I'm going to add some lines of tree branches that are coming this way. Good. Okay. Doing okay, hon? Okay.
I'm just looking at that picture of the sand dunes over there.
What about it?
It's really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Even though it's a painting, it looks like a picture.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. Get some white here. And, ooh, got some pink in there or something. That's all right. You can get that out of there, though. I don't really want it pink or purple. Laying these in kind of these overlapping lines, you know, the branches as they come out, they kind of create these like almost like long lines. You can really see it over in this area. There's a straight line of kind of a yellow green here. I'm going to get some yellow, and it just kind of goes almost straight across and then kind of pulls down in different layers. So there's bottom layer is kind of zigzaggy, but this top area is kind of straight, and that's just where that branch is laying towards us. It's probably facing straight at us to create that shape. You don't hear the puppy, so I must have passed out. Getting some blue or some unbleached titanium with the yellow here. I probably need more white. Yes, I do. Cadmium yellow light and white here. Okay. So I'm going to find the edges of these trees and add light underneath. Barely touching down, so I'm getting these light loose brush, or light loose leaf shapes. Okay. Get some straight color in here that's bright yellow. Maybe a little bit of green, just a touch. And a little bit of white. Mostly just straight up yellow here. And I've switched to the where this brush is. I could, yeah. I'm too into it. I can't stop. Can't stop me.
It is a blender.
Thank you.
Somebody's got a question.
Okay.
They said that adding the lighting is so intimidating. So do you have any tips for not overdoing it?
Yeah, I mean, I would every now and then step back, like maybe before you do your next color, step back, or between each section, step back and kind of look at it. It helps it to kind of look at it from a distance sometimes, just to kind of see what it looks like. Because sometimes when you're like right here in it, you just kind of keep adding more color and adding more color, and then you don't realize, that you've overdone it until it's too late. It's harder to get it off than it is to not put it on in the first place, Kind of like, wait. Yeah. So just kind of check it out every now and then.
And you're barely tapping.
Yeah, because I'm loading this brush very, very thick. Yeah.
And like we said before, you're almost letting the canvas pull the paint off the brush.
Yes.
Rather than pushing the paint onto the canvas.
Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise you're going to get like heavy-handed with this. You need to keep it light with these kind of brush, these kind of techniques with this, because you can end up looking clumped. It can look kind of clumpy. All right, so right here where it's passing behind the tree trunk, it turns to this cool color because it's not getting the sunlight. So we're getting these cool shadows and the highlights. And just watch your shapes, see what your shapes are that you're creating. Make sure that they make sense. But I think the key really is to get enough of the lighter colors in there, or in the darker colors underneath first. And then it makes the rest of this a lot easier if you have a good base of really dark color to work with before you start adding your light colors in there. If it's not dark enough, you really won't be able to get the good contrast that you need. All right, I'm going to wipe that off. Speaking of contrast, I'm going to get a little bit of the darker and get some of this green and do some dark right up here. This is basically the same color as our tree trunk. So we're going to just kind of really darken up some of this area up here. The areas around our tree trunks and in our dark areas. Just really adding some good dark back in. And then I'm going to get some of the kind of medium teal color and add that over the top. Okay. Let's get just a little bit of the green. I'm going to add just a little bit of the yellow. Just a little bit of it. Okay. Okay. Once I get that where I want it to be, I'm going to, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and use that. This little, okay, I've got all my brushes in water. I'm gonna come out. Get things once in though. You don't want that paint to dry in there, so don't let it dry while you're doing this other stuff. That would be really bad. Okay, white and a little bit of that purple color here. And I'm going to use it in my road. Just add some highlights across my road. Wipe most of that off. I'm just going to blend out those edges a little bit. Once I get that color on there, you can use your finger too to kind of blend it out. Push it around. Wet paper towel works as well. A little bit of that ultramarine blue. Go around it with the ultramarine blue. A little bit of the blue to the this area's got a little bit more blue there. And then get that brighter color for our dabs. Bright area right here. If you get it horizontal. That's what's gonna help the effect. Keeping that road flat, otherwise it'll look like it's curved. You know, if these lines are rounded or whatever, look kind of funky. They need to be kind of straight across. Okay, I kind of got a little bit too much of the light there, so I'm going to get a little bit of the burnt umber. Ultramarine blue. Put some of that back in. Is Spencer even out there? Because I hear the dog. Okay. Probably needs to go out. Burnt umber. What? What?
So picture the scene.
Mm-hmm.
We got Fitzpickles on the couch, just wagging his tail like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
And Cashmere on the coffee table.
Oh my.
Oh yeah. So that's what's going on.
I see. Okay.
And Spencer in between them, making sure
That she doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, there we go. And then, okay, that got a little curved there. I'm going to bring this top down here. So it flattens it out a little bit. There we go. Getting that almost pure white here. Really bright areas there. Isn't that fun? Okay, let's get some of the zinc white now, if I can. That's still not dry. And just a little bit of this yellow. And some glaze. And I'm going to come up from right in here and I'm going to angle it down this way. So that's come through. It's not showing up enough. You can add just a tiny bit of white, titanium white. Don't want to overdo it with the white though. Okay, so where it's hitting, I don't want this to be obvious where it's ending, so I'm just going to tap the bottom of it back a little bit, just so that it's just got the lines kind of right in here, but I don't really see where it's touching down necessarily, if that makes sense. So right in here where it's touching down, I'm just going to touch it with the wet paper towel and pull some of that off. And make sure that if I do have a spot where it's coming down, that I've got some light coming out from it. All right, I think that's it. What do you think? Good? Did I miss anything? I probably need to, oh yeah, I did. I can see it right here. I need to do some more greenery right here.
So you're not going to put the tank coming down the road?
No.
You Photoshop that out?
I've learned my lesson when it comes to painting tanks. My audience put a whole big can of nope on that.
Ain't nobody want to see that.
It's like my least watched video of all time. Just about.
Stop it.
Hey, I'm glad I did it. It was fun.
Me too.
Okay, so making sure that this area up here kind of is light enough and it makes sense. I'm going to maybe get a little bit of white and just kind of dab it in here where it's coming out of the trees. Really kind of emphasize that area where it's bright. Okay, I kind of overdoing it here. I need to stop. I think that's pretty close. Pretty close. Little bits of. And what you can also do now is, now that we've got all of this on here, I'm going to dunk all these in the water to get them started.
What brush were you just using?
In the bath.
Was that the blender?
Yeah, it was a blender. So then I can use the angle brush here with my yellow and white, mostly yellow. And I can go in here and turn the tip down and just dab in some small leaf shapes and do them kind of strategically, get some strategery going here. And it's going to make it just a little bit more realistic because it'll be the ones that are kind of catch your eye, you know. So you can do some like more like tiny shaped leaves, that kind of thing. But these little tiny dotted leaves will give a little bit more structure to the leafy shapes here. So we've got, okay, and then a little bit of the green. I'm just gonna do the same with the kind of lime green color here. Turned out good. I like it. Pretty fun.
Yeah, people are saying amazing.
Oh.
Whatever that means.
You're silly.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Are you speaking French now?
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's hard to say those words. Yeah.
I okay, get some white here and my burnt sienna, and gonna do this area right here where that sun's hitting this gravel road or the side of the road here. Gonna get that, make that lighter right there.
Somebody is asking a question.
Okay.
Magenta
here, the burnt sienna. Sorry, cool.
Nope, that's not the answer.
Go.
To get the foggy look, can you use a zinc white around the sun rays?
Yes.
+2 points for that person. Good job.
You shouldn't have to though, because we've already got that foggy look by making these colors so close to white. So they're already kind of there. You don't have to. If you do these background colors right, you shouldn't have to do that. So these already, have that kind of effect because they're so close to the white color. And I probably could have gone even lighter with my thing here, but yeah, but you could add some in here for sure too, if you wanted to. But I don't know that it's necessary.
And do you think a beginner should try this?
I do. I mean, it's a little bit more involved than I had really anticipated. I always do that to myself. I think it's going to be easy, and then I get in the middle of it, and I add.
We're just going to go for a painterly, kind of concepty.
Yeah.
2 hours later, detailed painting.
Okay.
But it does look incredible, honey. It really does. I know you can't help yourself making it look good.
Can't. I try.
I try not to be amazing, but
That's not what I said.
It's so hard.
I did see a little bit of sunlight that I missed over here. I'm going to do. Yeah.
No, I said that.
So amazing. Okay, right in here. Right here. I see some more coming down. And it's a little bit angled, a little bit different. But if you think about it, the sun is in one spot. It's not everywhere over here, right? So you don't have two suns. So these are going to all converge this way. So it makes sense that this one would be at a different angle a little bit. So it's slightly, it's so far away. They're not, it's not super obvious, and we're not actually seeing the sun. The sun is off. So our vanishing point for the sun is like way up this way, so the angle is going to be slight. It's not going to be super obvious, but there is another sunbeam coming down right in here. Seeing coming through. Like that. And this one is not as obvious, so I'm going to dab it off a little bit so that, there we go. Okay, I'm going to quit. And actually, I'm going to do another one right here, but go.
I'm going to quit, except I'm going to keep going.
Yes, I'm going to keep going. I'm quitting while I'm quitting. I'm going to put some of this zinc white up down here. This it'll kind of create a softer effect. Go. Super chat.
It's been a little while since the cowbells come out.
Yeah.
Just because we've been not doing this every couple of days.
Right.
So thank you to all the chatters out there. And we had 2 super chatters tonight. Okay. First one was from Angela, and she first gave us she gave us a cool emoji.
Yay.
And then said, love this class. So thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
And the other one was from Laura, and she says, thank you both. As always, your kindness and laughter brighten our days.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura.
Yay.
It's awesome.
Thank you, Angela and Laura. Yay. Great. I never know what to say for them because I was so shocked. It's like, wow, really? Thank you. You're so awesome. I appreciate it so much. It's just incredible. I've said it before, I would be painting these one way or another, maybe not as many as I do, but I would definitely be doing this. So getting it to do with you guys makes it that much more fun for me. I enjoy it so much, and I love teaching. It's just kind of a passion of mine. I had so much trouble when I was learning to paint myself. I had to kind of basically self-teach myself, the kind of techniques that I'm doing now. Learned from books and decorative painting and different things, but for the most part, just kind of had to work it out on my own, and it was a very frustrating process. And so I'm gonna take some wet paper towel here, just kind of dab this off, soften. I'm just adding white, like bright white dots here and there. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to do things. But anyhow, what I'm saying is I just enjoy being able to teach because I know how frustrating it was for me, and I like to be able to help you guys get a little bit of a head start on your art journey. I wish there was somebody that was doing these classes for me when I was trying to learn. So I'm kind of passing on the love to y'all because I love doing what I do so much. And I hope that you get to try it because it really has been rewarding. It's been one of the, most fulfilling things that I've gotten to do in my life. Getting to paint and just there's something about it, creating something out of nothing. That's just really starting out with a blank canvas and then ending it with something like this that you can hang up on your wall or give to a friend or whatever. It's just a really cool feeling. So I hope you guys get to try it. And if you do, you can share it with me on my social media. I've got all kinds of links down in my description. And give us a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed it, come back and we'll do this again next Tuesday. We're only Tuesdays during the summertime. I've got Patreon stuff going on during the week also. But as far as the free shows on YouTube, we just do them on Tuesdays right now. And we'll probably go back to Saturdays eventually. Maybe not as every week, maybe every other week. I don't know. We're not sure. We really have enjoyed having our Saturdays off. It's going to be really hard. This is hard to go back to every Saturday. Yeah. So, but we're going to probably in the fall for sure. For a while, we'll be back to Saturdays.
Yes.
For sure. Because I know there's a lot of people that crank them out for Christmas and stuff. So we
do miss spending the time with everybody.
We do. We 100% do. So it's been great.
And you mentioned Patreon, and it's say thank you so much to all the supporters.
Absolutely.
And you guys are a big reason why these shows continue to be here on Tuesday nights free for everybody.
Yes.
And so thank you so much for your amazing love and support.
Yes. That's a good point, honey.
It's, it's when I look, I mean, it's like almost 2,900 people. That's just.
I wish I knew all of you by name so I could thank you and give you a big hug and tell you how much you've changed our lives so much. And Mark's now, even contemplating getting to work for me. I get to be his boss maybe one of these days. So yay.
Well, we have been.
I always have been your boss, but
Right.
I'll actually I get to pay you.
And other than just food?
Yes. Pay him in food. We all happy. All right. I'm noticing that there's like some of this kind of orangey color that are in these trees right here, these leaves. Just right here. I'm just going to add a little bit of it.
So if you're new to Angela's channel, when she says she's done, she's not. So don't get worried. Because it could be a good 5, 10, 15 minutes more.
That's all I'm saying.
We have actually been known to go through the outro
and then come back.
And then come back.
Well, that was only because I forgot something really important, but I'm just adding a little.
But we have done that, so.
Yes, we have.
Just letting you know.
All right, this was really fun. I'm going to sign it with my pen here, and we're going to head out here. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, so as you said.
I've said it already, but I think.
Down below, there's the links to all the supplies and social medias and all that stuff, the colors.
I'll show you the mask. Now that you said that, we look at that, isn't that cute? I have a picture of Mark in that. It actually looks really good. But they're actually kind of just a little bit stretchy. These are the ones at the Teespring store. I have over 100 different designs of all my different paintings. So anyhow, I've been really pleased with the quality, and they're super comfortable. So we ordered a bunch of them. I ordered this one as a sample just to kind of see if they were nice, if we liked them. And then I ordered one for a bunch of them for my mom and dad and for all the rest of the family. So they're coming this week. I'm excited. I'm going to have a flowery one, of course.
People have been posting pictures of themselves in them.
Yes,
so they're just incredible.
Yeah, so if you buy one and you get one, be sure to tag me on your social media. I want to see it. I love getting to see what they look like. It's really cool. So, all right, guys, thanks so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.